Throughout this pandemic, companies have been pivoting their businesses and their operations in step with the changing consumer landscape. I sat down for a rare and exclusive interview with PepsiCo Chairman and CEO Ramon Laguarta to talk about the changes he's seeing in the consumer. Listen.
If you focus on, the larger markets for us, we're seeing consumers still trying to figure out their new habits, but we think there's a few key trends that will stay. And let me give you a couple that I think are relevant. Home as a hub. So, obviously we spend a lot of time, all of us, in our houses lately, and we've learned to exercise at home, learn at home, play at home, entertain at home, cook at home. We're seeing consumers staying with a lot of those habits. Of course, they're venturing out much more. They're doing a bit of activity outside of the house, but the house will remain a center for a lot of the daily activities of consumers going forward, much more than it was before. So that's a trend that we're planning to capitalize on, and I think a lot of the consumer good companies are thinking that way. The second one, which is obvious, is always on digital. So clearly consumers were already on digital for before COVID. Now that it has really, it's a whole new stage, especially when it comes to e-grocery and how consumers are buying omni-channel and the expectations of a seamless experience between offline and online. That will stay. We're seeing e-grocery remaining a preferred way to get, to get goods. So that will stay. The other one that is very relevant for us is holistic health, what we call holistic health. So consumers are becoming more conscious of their health. Consumers are becoming more aware of immunity, of their, the impact of food in their health.
What about the supply chain? Any disruption or shortages at this time?
We said in Q2, Sarah, as you might recall, that there is clearly, a inflationary pressures in the supply chain. We're seeing, a lot of the raw materials going up. We're not alone in this. Obviously, some challenges with supply chain, given that demand is so high in many markets. So there are some, bottlenecks on some ingredients in the supply chain. But we're used to this and navigating complex supply chains and making a good output out of a mediocre input. So we're doing quite well in that respect. I would say above competitors, and our share of market performance demonstrates that. When we're thinking about the inflation and how we're going to deal with this, obviously we're looking at multiple levers. We're looking at cost reduction, cost control, cost reallocation. So that's one area that we're focusing on. On the other hand, we've been investing a lot on net revenue management capabilities, and we're becoming much better than we were maybe 3-4 years ago, and that's going to help us as well to manage our mix, to manage our pricing, to manage our promotions, to get the best return of our investments on the commercial side, and make sure that we can navigate the P&L through multiple levers. And I think we can do this better than most of the companies in the marketplace.